The smooth flow of an academic calendar in Nigeria is almost becoming impossible in public higher institutions, a setback caused by strikes by the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASUU. The lecturers are always having an axe to grind with government after government. Issues are tabled, dialogues arranged, but an agreement is prolonged. August 2017, the union embarks on an indefinite strike following government's failure to implement the agreement reached with the union in November 2016.
Based on a nationwide consultation with our members, an emergency meeting of the National Executive Council of ASUU rose on Saturday, 12th August 2017, with a resolution to embark on an indefinite strike action starting from Sunday, 13th August 2017. The nationwide action is total and comprehensive. During the strike, there shall be no teaching, no examination, and no attendance of statutory meetings of any kind in any of our branches. To our public universities, that will be the pride of all, to secure the future of our children and their own children's future as well, and to lay the foundation for a university system capable of producing a country of our dream. We must make the federal and state governments implement the provisions of the 2009 agreement, the MOU of 2013, and the understanding reached in November 2016.
Highlights of the agreement reached include funding of government universities, payment of earned academic allowances, government responsibility as regards academic staff schools, pension matters for professors, payment of salary shortfalls on which implementation has already commenced, and resolution on the exemption of Treasury single account payment system in certain areas. The industrial action continues, running into a month. Most higher institutions are devoid of academic activities. A few students roam campuses, while some try retaining previous studies by self-revision. Another setback for those at the verge of finalizing their higher education. The meeting with the Minister of Education, Mr. Adamu, ends without an agreement.
For now, we are yet to reach any concrete decision. So as soon as we have more information, we'll make available to the press.
A conciliatory meeting called by the Minister of Labour and Employment, Dr. Chris Ngige, is adjourned after hours of deliberations.
The areas that are outstanding implementation-wise from the Memorandum of Action which we agreed to in 2017. Some of these areas we have substantial compliance, and some other areas have not been fully dealt with. We have, for example, the issue of shortfall in salaries of some federal university workers or lecturers, and as we had given a list to the Accountant General's office, that list will be cross-checked with the presidential PICA, the Presidential Initiative on Continuous Auditing.
Solidarity forever, for the union makes us strong.
It's the third meeting in a month and the 6th week of industrial action. It's a mild drama as the striking lecturers reconvene in a meeting with the Minister of Labour, but stage a walkout after 2 hours into the meeting. The Minister of Labour and Employment, Senator Chris Ngige, maintains that the negotiations with the lecturers are still ongoing and hopes that the federal government will deliver on its promises before the end of December 2018.
There is nothing like walkout. The satisfaction is a union leader, so if he doesn't get 100%, he might not be smiling. And know that any meeting you have and people come out smiling, somebody has cheated the other. We have agreed on implementation and given ourselves some program of work, what you can call a work plan. But the only difference now is a question of days. So that at least if people, students are, who are at home, they will have some hope of resuming in January. And those who have missed the exams this time can also have hope that the first week of January they go and complete the exams and move on.
We have started to discuss. Our discussions are continuing. And for now, we are here to reach any concrete decision. So as soon as we have more information, we will make available to the press.
The Socio-Economic Rights and Accountability Project, SERAP, sends an appeal to 2 UN rapporteurs, urging them to prevail upon the government of President Muhammadu Buhari and the leadership of Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASUU, to reach an agreement to end the ongoing strike by ASUU, which continues to have real and dire consequences on the rights to higher education, specifically university education as guaranteed by the International Covenant of Economic, Social and Cultural Rights, to which Nigeria is a state party. In the urgent appeal dated 28 December 2018, the organization said, by failing to prevent and end the ongoing strike by ASUU, the Nigerian government has defied and breached the explicit requirements of the right to equal access to higher education by Nigerian children and young people under Article 13, subsection 2C of the International Covenant on Economic, Social and Cultural Rights. According to SERAP, industrial action paralyzes economically disadvantaged parents who have no means or lack the capacity to pay to send their children to private higher institutions. In its statement, it writes, persistent strike in the education sector have continued to cause disruptions of classes and undermine both the quality and duration of students' education. Since its inception in 1978, the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASUU, has interfaced with the federal government on issues relating to salaries and welfare of lecturers. The federal government has always maintained that education remains a priority. The lingering dispute between ASUU and the federal government is yet to be resolved. Teaching and learning is grounded in most public universities. Students are back home, a setback for parents.
I'm worried as a parent because my daughter, who is in the university now, is at home doing nothing. So it is a source of concern for me that she's been staying at home for quite this long and without any activity. It is also a source of concern for her because she's getting frustrated because the situation is no longer okay for her to continue to stay at home doing nothing, not engaging in any activity, you understand? I think what is happening is that many a times there are negotiations between ASUU and the federal government, but then at the end of the day, it has never been met, okay? And then sometimes the government will say that we have done this, we have done that, but then at the end of the day, you find out that they have not really done what they said they have done. When you see prolonged discussions, prolonged negotiations, it means one side is not really honest with what is happening. It is unfortunate that at this stage of time in the history and development of Nigeria, we are still talking about what to do for the education sector, just like any other sector in the Nigerian environment, okay? Well, specifically the education sector needs total overhaul. We have to bring long-term solutions so that we will not be facing strike actions, you understand? If we are going to look at other models from other countries to see how they are doing it, why not?
The ASUU is not the only people. The ASUU is not the only government agency we have. There are other government organizations. But ASUU should agree and take this money, share it, then wait for the next batch of the money. Since the government agreed to pay you the money, you should agree, collect this money. Then next time you ask for another one. Now to stay on ground that you are not collecting is wrong. It's wrong. federal government to sit down. If they cannot meet the whole demand, they should at least meet 50% of the demand of ASUU. It's real. If you go to the school institution, frankly speaking, they are all in deplorable condition. But both parties to agree, okay, I'm giving you 50% of what you are looking for, but make sure make available the infrastructure on ground.
The worst hit in the impasse between ASUU and the federal government are worried about their future.
You know, school is supposed to be on sections now. And me personally, like for some of my fellow colleagues, my fellow students, we're supposed to finish our registration. We're supposed to finish our registration, but because of this strike, you can see so many things is happening, of which we were unable to do it. And me personally, I'm not even happy with students being at home. Well, for me, I think there should be an understanding, like a sincere understanding between ASUU and federal government. Because this strike has been happening even before I got to school, before being admitted in school. And with the way it's going, I don't think it's going to stop. For ASUU, this is the only way they can reach out to the government. This is the only way they can let government know that, okay, this is what we want and we are serious about it. So if you should ask me, for ASUU it's the best, but for students it's not.
Students are not getting any younger, so the strike is psychologically it's affecting students. It's definitely affecting students, so it's not cool. I think the federal government and the ASUU should find a common ground as soon as possible. They should reach an agreement so that students will come back to school and continue their studies. I think the federal government should consider the ASUU's demand because it's based on an agreement since 2009. Education is the backbone of any country. Any country that loses education, that country's future is detrimental. So, and fund is something that it's like a fund is what will keep the education moving. Without fund, the education will be backward.
The Minister of Labour and Employment insists that majority of the demands by the striking lecturers, including the release of 15.4 billion naira for the payment of salary shortfalls, have been met. According to him, the federal government is also in the process of releasing another 20 billion naira for the payment of earned allowances for university lecturers.
ASUU have fulfilled their own side of the bargain in terms of NUPENCO. NUPENCO is the pension fund administrator that the company that ASUU had floated to take care of pensions of people in the university system. The pension regulators, PENCON, had asked for certain conditions to be fulfilled. They earlier gave ASUU a temporary license, and now that license was to expire, and ASUU had submitted all the documents and fulfill the conditions needed for them to get their license. So this meeting resolved that we will now mandate Ministry of Education to get in touch with PENCOM to make sure that the permanent license is issued to ASUU as soon as possible. The Ministry of Finance and the Office of the Accountant General had provided us with evidence that they remitted the sum of 15.38940,335.71, which is 15 billion 389 million 940,335 naira 71 kobo. This is to accommodate payment of shortfalls in all the tertiary institutions that have been PCAT verified. They also showed us evidence that Mr. President has approved for the sum of 20 billion to be used to offset the outstanding arrears on the 2009 to 2012 audit verified earnings in the university system.
But the president of ASUU maintained that strike continues until its National Executives Committee meets to deliberate.
Until we get those promises. So when we get those promises, we shall evaluate them. That is when we can determine whether they're reliable or not. So we have had promises today, and we shall await them giving us the reports on their promises. Thank you.
So the strike is still ongoing, right?
Sure. We have nothing to take back to our members yet.
All right.
Thank you.